Ready for us? Right on. Okay, guys. Well, again, thanks for coming. So this is, I think, the 5th or 6th time we've done agent interviews here at the sales meeting. And in the past, we've had agents that have been in the business for like pretty long periods of time, that have had a lot of success. And to kind of try and change things up a little bit, what I wanted to do this time was ask Justin to come in, who's only been in the business for about a year. I think, old dogs or seasoned people. Like I've been in this industry for 25 years, and you kind of sometimes look at things through just lenses in one specific way. And sometimes when you get new people that come in, I think what Justin will hopefully share with us today will be great for new people. It will be great for people that are probably struggling in the business a little bit. But I also think it's great for some of the experienced people that are doing well, because I've talked with Justin before, and he's got some things that he's done and been able to get deals in some unique ways, which I think is great. So just going to give you just a couple of snapshots, background on Justin, and we'll just kind of jump right into it and answer some questions. So as I said, this is really his first full year in real estate. He's 31 years old. He's been about a year. He's had about 17 transactions and made about $200,000 in his first year in the business, which is pretty darn good, for your first year in the business. Good job. So again, thanks for coming in. And I know for a lot of people it's kind of nerve-wracking to sit here in front of a group of people, and I know you're also getting videos, so I appreciate you just jumping in and doing it. So why don't we just start? Just give us a little bit of background about where you grew up. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I grew up in kind of between California and Michigan, or in the Campbell area. I've lived here 3 different houses, moved back and forth, did like kindergarten, first grade here, moved to Michigan, did second, third, moved back and forth. So I've kind of always jumped around, but I kind of grew up in the Campbell area. Every time I came back, kind of connected with the same friends again.
Okay.
I live in West San Jose now, in a little great community.
Okay, cool. And so what'd you do? What kind of business or industry were you in prior to getting into the real estate business?
Kind of jack of all trades. I've kind of done everything. I've managed, no longer around, but I managed Blockbuster for a while. Moved over to Best Buy. Ran a franchise of 1-800 Got Junk for a little bit, where I ran the entire peninsula. And then actually started a towing company with one of my friends. We did that for a while. We were doing really well, but then had a couple differences, and I moved on from that. Got into auto brokering with my father-in-law. All the time, I've always been doing sales as part of the business. Even when I was running a towing company, I had to pitch our company and try to get in with established relationships with other companies, so I had to try to beat them out. But everyone told me that I should go be a car salesman, because I was on the other end buying cars and seeing how they did all that, and I was like, I don't want to be a car salesman. I really don't like those guys. And then my brother-in-law is a real estate agent. I've known a lot of other real estate agents. I live down the street from Kelly. She's been a real estate agent since I've known her.
That's right. Actually, Kelly, you were the one who originally introduced me to Justin. So thank you for that. That's really cool. I forgot about that.
So, I received a little push from my family that I need to start something new, make a better career for myself. And so my father-in-law said, hey, go get your real estate license, because my brother-in-law was doing it. So started off, took the class, passed all that, and then started interviewing with real estate companies.
And I hammered you pretty hard to get you to come over here?
Yeah, it was pretty tough. I actually had decided to go to Alon Pinnell. I interviewed with Tom at first because I had talked with Kelly, and she said, you got to go talk to Tom. But the last person I had talked to was over at APR, and I kind of liked their training program because I knew that that's what was going to make me successful, was the fact that I had to come in with as much knowledge as I could get. And I thought their training program seemed pretty nice. And then I called Kelly, or sent her an email and said, yeah, I think I made my decision. I'm going to APR. And then, like 30 minutes later, I got a call from Tom.
Persistence is my middle name, as all of you guys know.
So he goes, okay, give me one more shot. Just come in tomorrow. So came in the next day, hard sale. You got to be here.
It was all love. Come on.
Yeah, I explained to him the reason why I wanted to go to APR was that they seem to have a really extensive training program. And so Tom said, well, you know what? If you want training, he goes, I'll sit down with you every Monday, and we'll go over all your goals, and the whole Tom Ferry, Mike Ferry training that you pay $1,000 for, Tom gave it to me for free.
Right.
And that's what really made the difference, is someone right up front holding me accountable, giving me goals, giving me ideas. Because coming into the real estate industry, I didn't really know what to do.
Right.
And so that's kind of what tilted the tables to come to Intero.
So tell us a little bit about, when you got started, looking back, what would you say some of the most important things that you did in the very beginning to kind of get yourself going?
I established a farm in my neighborhood because I've always been outgoing with everybody that I meet. I've always helped all the neighbors. Everybody knew me. And so making sure that I was giving them a lot of information and farming that area was very important. I've got four deals out of there in the last year. I was going out, knocking on doors, doing open houses was really successful because it gets you out with the public. You're a lot more comfortable. The more times you're answering the questions and in the situations, the more comfortable you're going to be and the more natural it's going to be. My first listing appointment I went to, the only thing I had training-wise was watching the Mike Ferry listing appointment videos, and absolutely bombed it because I had no idea really what I was doing. But I found that when I came over, one of my neighbors recommended that I mentor up with someone, and she was friends with Andy C. And so when I came here, I hunted him down and said that, hey, our mutual friend said that you could help me out a little bit. And Andy's always taken in new agents kind of and helped them out and given some advice. And I ran with that, did kind of what he said, do open houses every weekend, and it's worked out.
Good, good. So, one of the things that's pretty interesting that you've done, talk a little bit about how you leverage Facebook within your community. I know they already had a business page or a community page established, but I think that was just kind of been a good way to get your brand out there in addition to everything else.
Really kept me in front of the entire community. We have 400 or so homes in my community, and we have a Facebook page that everybody chats on. It's a social gossip page, basically. But everybody throws questions in there. Hey, how do you do this? Or I'm having a problem with my dishwasher. Who should I call? And I've always stayed on top of that. I get instant alerts to my cell phone anytime someone posts on there, and I'm always the first person to post back with an answer. So I've gotten calls from there where people go, hey, I see you all over the Facebook page. You seem to know everything about the community. I go to all the meetings for the city and the developments around, so I know anything that's happening around the community. So I also post whenever I go to a San Jose meeting. I post the results on the Facebook page so that everybody knows about it. Went door to door, knocking on every door. I haven't really
even irritated one of the realtors in there that had been in the business for a long time but hadn't done any business.
I really upset an agent that also lived in the community. But that didn't stop me. I talked to Tom, and he said, don't worry about it, just let it blow over. He kind of bashed me on the Facebook page and called me a little baby agent. And then everybody on the Facebook page started bashing him.
Jumped on his bandwagon, which he had forwarded it to me. Because, what should I do? And again, even my initial reaction, because I take it personal with even you guys. I mean, your initial reaction is like attack back. And fortunately, he didn't do that, and we didn't do that, and he just and all of a sudden, the next thing you know, and I saw it, all the neighbors started jumping on his bandwagon, on Justin's bandwagon, defending him, and all of a sudden, this guy just basically faded away into the background. It ended up being the best thing that happened, quite honestly.
Yeah, because that got my name out there even more with everybody.
Yeah.
But just went around knocking on doors, getting people involved on the Facebook page so that they could see me, but I never made a hard sell to any of my community members. I was always giving them information. I'm never going around asking them if they want to sell or anything like that. It's market updates. Hey, rates are extremely low. You should refinance. Here's some references. Reminding people, make sure you drain your water heater because that needs to be done once a year. Just giving tips and ideas like that out there so that when someone had the idea of selling, they remembered me because I was always in their face on the Facebook page, basically.
Cool. What are some of the other things that, from a technology standpoint, like I know you've done some stuff on Zillow and some other, from a technology standpoint, any other tips or ideas or cool applications that you're using?
I mean, I'm not sure exactly how much they're working. I advertise on Zillow. I advertise on Trulia. Trulia has this little agent check-in thing that you could do every time you go to a house, and it kind of bumps you up on the scale. I'm not sure how much that's helping.
I see it when you do it.
I do it all the time. I know Alice Bedell
does it pretty regularly. Yeah. So if you guys follow Alice does it a lot.
Yeah.
She's at previews. So whenever Alice is out on Broker's Tour, which is pretty much Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. She checks in at all the listings that she's
Yeah.
out previewing. So her clients basically know that she's just out there looking at real estate all the time, and it kind of attaches kind of
links
some
it,
property
yeah.
detail information about the house that she's actually seeing, which is kind of cool, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, what would you say now? So, you, open houses was kind of how you got started. Your little community. You're continuing to do those things? What are some other? Is there any other big lead generation sources, or just doing more of that stuff has been really what your
No,
focus
it's
has
just,
been?
I mean, getting out there. I mean, the more people you contact, you're just going to run across somebody that knows somebody that needs to sell or buy, and just always being available. I mean, I pick up my phone all the time. People call me whenever, have questions.
Cool.
Yeah.
Tell me what's a typical day in or a typical week look like for you? Like, what time do you get up in the morning? What time do you go into bed at night? I mean, well, and the other cool thing about Justin, I can tell you, he has fun, you know, because I do follow him on Facebook. I mean, he's a big San Jose Earthquakes fan, so I see he goes to events and he's going to games, so it's not always just work for you.
Yeah.
Which is cool, but you know, what is kind of a typical?
Always busy, but
Yeah,
doing
busy.
something.
You're never sitting around. You're always out doing something. You're hiking. You're, like I said, at Sharks games, Earthquakes games. But what's a typical day or week look like for you right now, if you have one?
I have to structure everything, because if I don't use my calendar and my reminders, I really start letting things go. So I've kind of filled up my calendar with, on the first Wednesday of every month, an email blast needs to go out to these people, and then on this day I need to create my farm rate sheet, or the market update, and pass it out. On my dailies, it's constantly changing. I've been pretty busy with maintaining my current deals and working on things like that. But I wake up in the morning.
What time you get up?
Need to work out in the morning.
What time do you get up in midnight typically?
I
And again,
normally
you don't
get-
have kids right now, so.
Yeah, no, I don't have kids. I'm normally up late on my computer, so
So
I
what
get
time
up
are you up at night
like
till?
midnight, 1 o'clock. So
Yeah.
I get up around 8 o'clock. Get up first thing, walk the dogs, which is actually a great way to meet people. Having pets.
Yeah.
That's what started all of the community efforts that we have in my place, is that everybody met each other. We live in a townhome area, and a lot of times you see that people just kind of drive in their garages and close the garage, and they never know any of their neighbors. But everybody in my community has pets, dogs, so you're always out walking, meeting everybody, saying hi. I mean, I walk around when I'm showing someone a house, I'm walking through the community, just explaining the different things that we have, and I'll have 10 different neighbors just be like, "Hi, Justin, how you doing?" So we ended up like connecting with all these people because of pets. So dogs are a good way
That's
to market
good.
yourself.
I like it. So you've been at it for a year now. So what other things would you, looking for? Like, what's your plans? The things maybe that you're going to try and implement in the next 12 months, or do more of in the next 12 months. To kind of, you've done 17 deals, made a couple $100,000 in gross close commissions. I know you want to take the next step.
Yeah.
What's your plan to do that?
I haven't really pushed my center of influence that much. When I first started, I was more about open housing and farms, because I didn't believe that my center of influence had buying power, which my direct center of influence really didn't have much buying power. But now things are changing. I think I really need to focus a lot more on my center of influence and get out with them, because they're all getting into the market now of purchasing. I think it's kind of changed. The market's kind of changing a little bit, because from when I started, it was just a straight seller's market.
Right.
We were just coming out of the slump. So you didn't want to even touch a buyer. So I did focus on trying to get listings as much as possible. Even during the open houses, we're looking for listings when we're there. And I've pulled listings off of open houses too.
Good.
But I think I just need to work the center of influence, continue doing open houses, and just maintain all the marketing that I'm doing.
So if a new agent to the business came to you, or even an experienced agent who was struggling, what advice would you give them on what they need to do to get their business ramped up as quickly as possible and kind of grow it from there?
The quickly as possible is tough. It's persistence. So I got my license in the middle of July, and I kept on. I mean, Tom was saying, get out there, drop flyers, talk to people, and I was doing that nonstop for about 2 months. I got the first listing appointment. I didn't get the listing. They were interviewing multiple agents. But I kept on marketing, and by the third month, then I got one of my farms. People called me and said, "Hey, Justin, we want you to come over and sell our house." And it was as easy as that. So it was because I was there. I was constantly giving them information, letting them know what's up. They knew that I had market knowledge just from that information. So I would say just persistency. You get some agents that come in, and I'll get a drop from an agent for a month. Maybe I'll get like 2 letters dropped at my door, and then you never see their stuff again. It's being there time after time, I think, is what's getting me a lot of the business.
Cool. Good. All right, does anybody have any just specific questions that you guys maybe want to ask Justin about his success here? Anybody have anything at all? Cool. Yes, Liza.
Are you doing flyers or direct mail when you're reaching your farms?
I'm dropping flyers at the door because when I started, I didn't want to ring up any extra fees that I didn't need to. So black and white copies is all I did. Just market update and put them under all the. Drop a note. I did buy notepads right off the bat, and I've got a couple guys in my complex that don't like it because that means their wife is telling them to go do something. They go, every time I see your face on a piece of paper, I know it's a to-do list.
Honeydews.
But notepads I think are really great. Tom always pushes those. They stay a little bit longer than just a flyer does. So I put my market updates in a notepad. I put out the notepads once a quarter because it's only like 20 sheets, so that people go through them pretty quickly. But I would say black and white copies and doing market updates. Pick an area and just consistently hit it. Make sure you're dropping a market update for them every month.
So are you leveraging some of the pieces that we create on a monthly basis, just out of curiosity?
Yeah, I'll do the market update, and then I'll put the pieces that come out on the backside of it.
Okay.
Because it's more, for me, it's more, I'm not trying to just try to find a buyer or seller. I'm letting them come to me once they see that I'm giving them knowledge, I'm giving them information. And I think that's, for me, I think that's the key, is that I'm not overly pushy trying to get the deals. The deals have kind of came from the people that I've helped.
Well, and I always talk about, there's a difference between doing deals and building a business, and I think when you're focused on doing deals, you're out there chasing people around. And when you build a business, it's more about, it takes longer a lot of times, but if you build a business, over time what happens is people come to you instead of you having to constantly be chasing them down. So I think it makes a big difference. And long term, that's what I always recommend. I've talked about it in the past. If you're new in the business, I think you got to spend probably 80% of your time going to get deals, open houses, cold calling expireds, FSBOs, all those types of things, and maybe spending only 20% of your time building business. But in a 40-hour work week, that's still spending a day a week focused on building a business, geographical farming, giving back, providing information, focusing on your center of influence, and those kinds of things. And what you'll find is over time, and it may take years, it may take a few years to get there, you'll find yourself being able to only have to focus on maybe chasing deals 20% of your time, and you're just going to be servicing and cultivating your business, which is a lot more fun to do than it is constantly chasing people down. When people are calling you because they see you as the expert, and they're looking to you for guidance and help, and that's why I'm such a big advocate of geographical farming and a big advocate of making sure that you have some sort of a very specific plan to cultivate all of your relationships with your friends and your family and your past clients, or if you came from a different industry, the people that you used to work with. I think it's great. Cool. Any other questions from anybody else in here? Cool. Well, I totally appreciate you taking the time to come in. Thank you very much. It was awesome.